Alrighty, folks. Welcome to yet another episode here of Aspire to Inspire. We are kicking off the end of 2025 strong with a very special guest with us. I am so thrilled and honored to be able to have guest speaker with us, Candace Stewart. I'm just going to read her bio just to give a gist of who she is and what she does in this business that we call the entertainment industry. So without further ado, Candace Stewart is a seasoned talent representative and dedicated member of the Television Academy, bringing over 16 years of industry experience. She has been nominated 3 times for the prestigious Heller Award for Talent Agent of the Year, winning in 2019. Recognizing the growing opportunities in the Southeast, Candace relocated to Atlanta to launch and lead DDO Atlanta. Woo woo. She has a proven track record of securing series regular roles for her clients on hit shows like Night Court, NCIS Hawaii, and Divorce Sisters. Good show. Additionally, her clients have booked recurring roles on acclaimed series such as The Pit, NCIS, Fire Country, Star Trek Picard, 911, Yellowstone, Carpetta, Will Trent, and She the People, among others. And I will conclude here. Beyond talent representation, Candace leads DDO Artists National Diversity and Inclusion Initiative, working to increase visibility and opportunities for artists of color, non-binary and trans artists, and artists with disabilities. One of the initiative's standout success is Marissa Bodie, who appears in Wicked and reprises her role in Wicked Part 2. Without further ado, I'm going to bring our lovely guest here to the stage. Hi, Candace. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me. What an introduction. I hope I, can stand on those credits. But no, I thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy to be here.
Of course, stand 10 toes down. You're the real deal in my eyes. And here at Aspire to Inspire, we want to amplify people who are making amazing moves in the industry and also want to give you your credits and flowers for everything you do behind the scenes as a talent agent and everything you're doing at DDO. So welcome. We appreciate you. And I would love to get started by just allowing you to just welcome yourself and take us to the beginning, Candace. Where did the love for wanting to step behind the scenes as a talent agent begin? Take us back. We're all ears.
Yeah, so I am an Angelino through and through, born and raised in Los Angeles. I knew I wanted to do something in entertainment, but I'm not a singer, a dancer, or an actor. And I went to high school and I took an acting class and realized that really wasn't for me. And also, it didn't help that America Ferrera was in my acting class. And so I was like, she has a lot of talent. That's not me. Moving on. And so then I opted to look into comedy, and I was like, I think I'm kind of funny. So I opted to train as the JV mascot under the varsity mascot, but I was definitely out of my realm with that as well. So I opted to Tiffany Haddish was the senior mascot. And so I was like, you know what, I'm not her. So I'm going to move on. So with that being said, I decided to work in the entertainment industry on the representative side. So I went to college, got a degree in cinema, television arts, media management. So the business side of entertainment. And then from there, I interned at a management company and stuck with talent representation ever since. And so I've been doing it for about 16, 17 years now. And I love what I do. I love it every day. And so there was no looking back.
I love that. You are so narrow-minded in terms of what you want and able to pivot. That tells a lot about character and what you want to do, but it's beautiful full circle moment. You were able to narrow down exactly what you wanted to do and found your love pretty quickly. And I mean, hey, looking back, you can definitely reflect and see like, wow, having to say the names like America Ferrera and Tiffany Haddish and to kind of see where they are now, it's kind of like, hey, I spotted that then. No, it's not a shocker to see where they are now. So I think it's so interesting hearing that, you were able to spot that talent even then. It's hilarious.
I was like, I might be a natural at this. Let me just kind of like see what it is that I can do in the talent representative side of things.
Exactly. Yeah. I love that. And for viewers who are watching, and I would love to just dive deeper in your role as a talent agent, the question states as follows. For anyone watching who may not fully understand your job as a talent agent, what does being a talent agent basically means? Give us a breakdown of what that means. And what do you do on behalf of your actors, your clients? Give us a little breakdown.
Yeah, so a talent agent obviously scouts, recruits qualified or talented actors, maybe writers, whatever it may be. But for myself, I focus on actors. We scout them, we sign them, we work on their behalf to procure auditions, we work with them to advance their career. So every day I sit in front of my computer, I submit, I pitch on projects, I go after any and all opportunities that they might be right for to get them in the room, to get them seen by casting and potentially the studio, the network, producers, directors to secure a job. So ultimately, I also work with, well, ultimately at the end of the day, it's just to make sure that my actors are working, that they're doing everything that needs to be done to procure them work. I work closely with managers. So a lot of times I will tag team different casting offices with managers if you have a manager on your team. But ultimately, my goal is to get you working and to make you money from your endeavors.
I love it. I love it. And mind if I talk a little bit more about just your onboarding process, especially with being a talent agent? I hope this isn't too narrow of a question, but I definitely am interested in terms of an actor when it comes to signing on with representation. What is your typical onboarding process? What does that look like on your end and also on the actors then? What do they need to communicate with you about?
Yeah, so if I meet with someone and I think that it's a good fit, obviously we send like our welcome packet, which entails like connecting your casting networks, your actors access profiles. I'm in the Southeast and we don't necessarily use Casting Frontier, but I know that they use that in the LA market, maybe other markets, but I'm not sure. Onboarding includes like sending me your demo reel, sending me your headshot, sending me all the materials that you have that I can utilize that as we work together throughout the year and procure you opportunities. So if you have like a skill reel, if you have a drama reel, a comedy reel, I always tell my clients, send everything you have. A lot of times clients will skip over sending things because they feel that, oh, well, you may not need to use my hosting reel because you're not representing me for hosting. But sometimes you'll see a breakdown that'll come through and it says must have hosting experience. Send casting the link to the hosting, to them showcasing their hosting skills, and I don't have that on file. So I always say err on the side of over communication because at the end of the day, the more I know about my clients, the more I can produce for you. And so that's pretty much the standard onboarding process, and making sure that the profiles are connected to my side so that I can submit you for projects.
I love that. Oh my goodness, I'm learning oh so much. And as an actor, and I know a lot of people who are on this platform or watches this platform, there's not necessarily much talked about in terms of skills and having that type of reel for our agents to submit on our behalf.
Right.
And even things like, show a clip of of you singing or dancing or hosting or even things of that nature. That over communicating, like, hey, like, send us what you have. I think that's just something that not a lot of people talk about because it's not your typical headshot and demo
Right.
reel and of that nature. So it's kind of like goes in one ear and literally out the other. It's like
Right.
this blind sight that we have as actors.
Right, right. If it's not acting related, it still can come into play. Like again, like I have clients that played collegiate level of like soccer or whatever it may be, and it's like when that Coca-Cola commercial comes out for FIFA, like I need that material. So it's like just I say send everything you have.
I
Absolutely.
love it. I
Yeah.
love it. So for actors out there, don't be timid, don't be
That's
shy.
it.
Outside of acting, show us what you got. I love it. I love it for sure. And carrying on from there, I think one of the questions that I have here is in terms of your transition, being at Angelino and now being based in Atlanta, Georgia, or now currently residing there with having DDO in Atlanta now. I would love to pick your brain in terms of that transition and being the head and leading DDO in Atlanta and now being open to the Southeast region. Well, the first question that pops in my mind is what initiated that transition and how has your actors been able to benefit from the Southeast market? If there's anything that you can relate to with working with Southeast actors.
Yeah, I would say what ultimately led to the transition to the Southeast was that there are a lot of projects that are now filming in the Southeast, from episodics to feature films, whether they're filming in Atlanta or North Carolina or South Carolina. There just seems to be a plethora of productions that have utilized the tax credits in the South. And so us at DDO have been eyeing the market for a while, and we said, you know what, let's capitalize on that. Let's go ahead and transition down. So I was already working with a lot of the casting directors in the Southeast, so it was kind of a no-brainer for me to be the one to come down. So coming down and being there in person, I've been able to network to my full potential. I'm able to really immerse myself into the climate in the Southeast in Atlanta, the region, getting to know those casting directors even more so, as well as finding some really great talent. Not that I'm surprised because obviously actors in LA all hail from somewhere else for the most part. But it's really nice to find, skilled, qualified, or, if they don't have the resume, they have the potential to do really great things in the market. So it's been really wonderful going to different showcases, networking, scouting at different improv comedy shows. All of that has really benefited the roster and for DDO Atlanta. And yeah, the clients have been able to book obviously series regular opportunities, recurring opportunities, multiple gang of commercials,
Right.
print campaigns. So there's just a lot that's happening. So yeah, it's one of those markets that, I feel that a lot of people have been sleeping on, but transitioning down, I've really noticed that it's a booming market. That shouldn't be
Mm.
underestimated. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. And it's so interesting to see how you mentioning the tax credits. That is
Yeah.
something that's definitely pivotal. I feel like in today's day and age,
Yeah.
especially with like a lot of productions going and filming in Atlanta and kind of allowing Atlanta just to be this booming state of just now opportunities
Mhm.
for Southeast actors. I mean, you also have your LA and New York actors who are working as a local hire. So there's this
Yeah.
influx of just opportunities and also just a chance in a sense for a lot of people to work and gravitate to this new market. And I
Yeah.
like how you said, at DDO, you guys have been eyeing what's going on. And
Yeah.
when you guys made that initiative or that move, it was a no brainer at that time. I
Yeah.
mean, look at where you are now, being able to
Exactly.
secure these regulars and recurring roles and things of that nature. So it
Yeah.
just seemed like perfect moment, right time, may I say?
100%. Everything in this industry is about timing. So it's like, whether for actors or agents, managers, when the shoe falls in the right direction and the shoe drops in the right direction, like you can benefit from it when the timing is lined up perfectly. And I felt like we did that at the perfect time.
Yeah, you guys definitely did. And I feel like in a sense it also allows DDO to now be in a
Mhm.
completely different market. So you guys are
Yeah.
not just in just 2 or 3 places, you guys are spreading across the US, which is amazing. And
Yes.
yeah,
Yeah, we're one
completely.
of the few agencies that are in the four major markets. So we're in LA, Chicago, New York, now Atlanta. So yeah, it's nice.
Just a little
Just a
brush off
little,
the shoulder.
we're like satellite. We are physically in each market. So yes.
No, I think that's awesome. It's definitely worth talking about and diving a little bit deeper. And I love how you mentioned earlier in terms of networking with casting directors and being already familiar with the market of the Southeast. But I'm
Mhm.
sure, and you've built relationships, and this is where I'm getting to, but building relationships with casting directors, different industry professionals in the Southeast, I'm sure there is something that everyone can take away in terms of how to network and build relationships. The question that I have for you is, as a talent agent, and this is more on the actor's perspective, if you can speak on this, what is
Mhm.
something actors often don't realize on how those relationships that you've built are worked behind the scenes? You talked a little bit about timing. This can even segue into it, but can you kind of answer that question in the sense of how your relationships are being built and what actors may not often realize how that relationship is being built, if
Oh,
that makes sense.
that's a really good question. I might add. Yeah. So ultimately, I would say it's a little bit of an intricate relationship. Obviously, you are, as like casting is reminded of you based upon your last experience with them. So you want all of your experiences with casting to be positive. So that's why, sometimes with actors, if tapes are late or if there is a no response to a confirmation, casting is reaching out to us agents and talent representatives to confirm auditions. And if we don't confirm in a timely manner, they will reach out and say, hey, why do I have to consistently reach out to you to get these people confirmed? And so it's that relationship. So casting wants an idea of how many people are actually turning in tapes, and they do keep track and they do count. So that's why, the relationship with casting directors is only as good as the relationship that we also have with our clients. It's like a trickle effect. So it's like, so the clients that I know that are go-to clients, that get things in, that confirm auditions, that are ask questions in a timely manner, meaning that they don't wait the day of the tape is due to ask questions regarding the character or the breakdown or the tone or whatever it may be. There are a chunk of actors on the roster that I'm like, I know I never have to worry about them. They're going to do good work. They do their research. Then you have like another group that kind of is a little bit lackadaisical. So you kind of have to ride them a little bit. And sometimes, being an artist, a lot of times they're not necessarily like checking everything off the box, because sometimes artists they march to the beat of their own drum. So sometimes you kind of have to stay on top of them and make sure that they get things in, that they're reading the directions. And that's why, all of us agents at DDO, take what we do seriously. We are pro actor, but we're also very aware of how relationships can change very quickly. And so we don't want that to happen with any of the casting directors that we work with regularly. And also times I will tell clients, like, look, like, I can't send your tape along with the way that it was filmed. Like, you don't have a backdrop, the sound is off, or the tone is completely off, because it not only affects my relationship with casting, it affects the opportunities for everyone else on the roster. So when that starts to become very like when an agent or a talent becomes aware that, hey, this person is causing a little bit of a problem, not only for myself but for the other actors on my roster, you kind of have to, like, cut it off where it is. Like, you have to, like, what, I'm so sorry. But so that's why we take what we do seriously, meaning getting your tapes in on time, confirming right away, asking questions like those, be a professional about it, step up to the plate. And if you're not able to get it in, give a reason. Like, we don't want you to rush to do something if it's lackluster. We want you to be able to take your time and do it. That's why booking out is important. If you're not available to tape, or if you're traveling, whatever it may be, just let everyone know. Again, communication is key.
I love it. I mean, you were preaching to the choir, Candace, honestly. You've hit on so many points, and this is why I love this platform and love to get to pick people's brains, because it's ultimately comes down to communication, like
Yeah.
communicating with your agent. It can just save you so many problems and save you so much confusion. But I definitely love how, oh my goodness, passionate you are, especially when it comes to what you do in terms of the relationships that's built, and also blatantly stating, like, hey, like, this is a trickle effect when it comes to the relationships that's
Yeah.
built here. So whoever you know and on board in terms of actors, you want to make sure that they know the ins and outs and the flows. You're able
Right.
to work with them accordingly, but
Right.
also to know that, okay, I can trust this actor, that they will do the job, they will understand the tone of the show, and it looks better for you,
Yeah.
to submit your talent because you have that relationship with casting.
Yeah.
So it's like this cool circle moment where
Mhm.
there's so much we don't know behind the scenes, but ultimately when you come up prepared, it looks good on
Mhm.
everyone's part. It looks
It
fantastic.
does. It does. I love those.
Yes, I
I
love
love
it.
those clients.
Right. I love those clients. For
Yeah.
sure, for sure. And I
Mhm.
would love to pick your brain in terms of self-tapes because they are here to stay. They're not going anywhere for sure. But I would just love to hear in terms of your experience, of course, looking at self-tapes and submitting them on behalf of your clients. What do
Mhm.
you think makes a strong self-tape?
Ooh, obviously, the technical aspect of it is one part of it. The technical aspect meaning that you have a backdrop, you have a ring camera or lighting that really showcases or highlights your face, not overhead lighting. That can be a little it's not the best, but making sure that you have all the materials in place. I can hear you more so than I can hear your reader. Like just those simple technical aspects, making sure that it's cropped properly. I would say what really makes the self-tape stand out is a client that's not afraid to take some chances. Whether it's adding a button, not changing the dialogue in any way, shape, or form, but like adding a button at the beginning, maybe adding a button at the end. Clients that are not afraid to use the space. Spatial awareness is super important, whether it's like, you're back during most of the dialogue, but then if you have something that's like intimate, leaning in and utilizing the camera. So you just kind of have to know how you look on camera, what the character brings, and utilizing that space, whether it's sitting down, standing up, moving into screen, or already being, in frame, or moving in frame or already in frame. It all depends. But I would say clients that are not afraid to use their space and are comfortable on camera. And I know that it's not a requirement, but it's also a big plus if you have memorized your lines. I know a lot of times, casting directors will say you don't have to memorize them. And I understand that. But if you're going up against, 150 other actors that have memorized their lines, like who's going to be the standout actor. So you want to make sure that you're just taking all of that into consideration. But again, and also too, a person who has researched the show, when I send out, the materials, it always lists the writers, the directors, the network, the studios attached. So you want to Google and make sure that you understand what is being brought to the table, or what they've worked on prior, so that you can get an idea of tone and pace based upon this new project. If it's a second season, then you have the first season to watch. But if not, you want to do your research, and then you want to also research who the series regulars are, like what the characters are, because names might pop up that may already be established characters in the show. So you'll be interacting with X, Y, and Z. So again, doing your research, getting an idea of pace and tone, technical aspect of it, and not be afraid to add a little something extra to that tape so that you really stand out.
Yeah, it comes
Yeah.
down to standing out, especially for actors. I mean, I can only hear from interviews how I hate to say it, how boring it can be to watch hundreds of tapes of
Yeah,
actors doing the same thing, delivering it the same way, and that can kind of be such a
it can. It,
sometimes, if you can attest to
yeah.
that.
Yeah, no, it can be. But I also say that it has to be natural. Sometimes you'll have clients that will force it, and it doesn't feel genuine to the character. So if there is something that feels genuine to character, I say don't be afraid to take that chance, because I'll give you my feedback, and hopefully if it's not in line with the character, then you have time to tape again. But if it feels right for the character and it feels right for the show, then I say do it. But don't just do something so that you stand out, and because you may not stand out in the right way.
True. That's
Yeah.
very true. That's very true. And that's definitely something to make note of, especially
Yes.
for actors who are tuning in and listening here. But
Yeah.
I would love to take a moment. As I stated in your bio, you've secured series regular roles, recurring roles, things of that nature, which is an amazing accomplishment, especially bringing this whole new branch and market into Atlanta for DDO. I want to talk about, in terms of growing an actor's momentum, their credits, things of that nature. So I would love to just pick your brain in terms of, I guess, as a talent agent, what is your, I hate to say a process or method, because it can kind of just grow over time, but
Mhm.
what is your approach when it comes to building an actor's momentum for them
Mhm.
to get seen, or to just build their credits in a sense, say
Mhm.
for an actor who's just starting out, wanting to branch into TV and film? What is your, so to say, approach into guiding an actor and how to break into those rooms?
Yeah, I would say if you're new to acting, and new to my roster, obviously out the gate, with a lack of set experience, it can be a little difficult. But I would say don't be afraid of the one-liners. Don't disregard, a simple co-star or maybe an under five, because it at least gives you something to work with. It gives your rep something to work with. So I tend to start, obviously, if you're newer, I will submit you to, larger roles if I really feel that you fit the spec and are able to bring it to bring the character to life. But I would say don't be afraid to dismiss waiter or server or whatever it may be, server number two or whatever. But you have that interaction with the lead actors. You get seen. Casting directors will hear like, you did a great job on set. So you just want to get that set experience. Now, if you are, qualified to be submitted on a guest star, if you're looking for something very specific, that's the opportunity to really pounce on that. If it says looking for like the guest star, but must have like weapons or arms training, and you were in the military and you happen to have that, I'll submit you and I'll pitch you, and let's hope for the best. Let's hope that casting's going to take a chance and see what you can bring to the table. So always be prepared for that. But ultimately, when you are being introduced to casting directors, unfortunately, the roles are genuinely going to be a little bit on the smaller side. But as you start to make inroads, as if you get put on a veil, if they're checking your availability, casting directors will remember you, and they'll keep calling you in for the project until something fits. So you want to be that person that gets it in early, that is showing that I'm a professional. If the casting director wants you to add submission notes, be sure to add the submission notes. And that's why following the instructions that casting directors provide is vital, because they want to know if you're paying attention, and the actors have to pay attention. You have to take direction and be redirected maybe multiple times on set. They may change your lines or take a line from you and have you do something completely different. So you have to think on your toes, and you have to be ready to go. And so just reading the instructions, and everyone has a different list of instructions, and it varies depending on project. So you want to read that, again, if it's a Monday and we have 40 self-tapes that are due by like 9 a.m., we try our best to get through all of them, but sometimes we're just not able to review everyone. So you just want to make sure that you're reading and following all the instructions. And that's a sure-footed way to kind of get yourself noticed by casting, as well as doing workshops. Like if they're doing like a virtual showcase, or if they're doing a workshop of some degree, go in, positively. This is their first time seeing you. You come in, you're ready to go, you're prepared, you're professional, without being like too needy, but just showing what it is that you do, and they will respond to that. So being true to yourself and just showcasing your ability to them in different workshops, virtual or in person, is important as well.
I love that. And
Yeah.
especially talking about workshops and things of that nature. Earlier, you did mention in terms of scouting for talent,
Mhm.
workshops are the place to do so. Even virtually now, it's kind of like this whole new thing. Virtually it can be done. Even productions or theatrical productions or theater, things of that nature. There's so many ways that as actors, you just never know who's watching at
Yeah.
these events you may perform at these workshops you may take, or even training sessions or
Yep.
things of that nature, where someone could be watching you, someone could be eyeing you, and you just never know what could happen from it. But
Right.
being prepared and being able to be on your toes, I think that's something else that actors, I feel like are always on our toes, but we kind of view it as sometimes a bad thing. But sometimes being able to have that scenario in which we can be directed on what to do on set, or maybe they'll scrap our lines entirely and give us something new, and therefore we got to be on our toes. It's a
Right.
positive things to look into and to
Yeah.
look at, but also there's this other side of professionalism where you have to read everything,
Yeah.
everything pertaining to the breakdown. So I
Yes.
feel like it's a double-edged sword, but
Yeah.
if you love it, why complain? If you
Exactly.
really love it.
Exactly. I have so many different stories about clients that have been on set, and then one of the A-listers liked their line, and so they took their line and gave them a different line, and so the whole dialogue was switched around, and this is a co-star. And so it's like, and she's like, I rolled with it, and they were really happy and pleased with it. And that's, at the end of the day, that's all you can hope for, is that they liked your performance, they liked what you did, they remember you. And then and again, sometimes it'll get back to casting directors where they're casting for something different, and they go, oh, I remember that actor or actress that was on set. Let's see what they're doing. And then that'll come from casting directly in a veil check, just to check their availability for a new project without even auditioning. So all of it is connected. All of
It
it.
is. Oh
Yeah.
my goodness, it is. Oh, I could talk about this forever, but I want to dive deeper in your credits. Well, in your bio, as I mentioned earlier, the work that you do with DDO's diversity and inclusion initiative, excuse me. I would love to just hear your perspective. And the question is states, why is representation important for you personally, with
Mhm.
diversity and inclusion, things of that nature? And how can agents like yourself help create real change in the industry when it comes to diversity and inclusion? Feel free to speak from personal experience.
Yeah, I mean, when I started in the industry, there weren't that many Black talent representatives. I started at a time when it was about 17 years ago, where maybe there were a handful, but not too many. And working with actors and scouting actors, especially when I was younger, was sometimes a little bit difficult. And I had to overcome that obstacle. And through the years, and being nominated multiple times, have also added to my list of successes. My name has become like synonymous with working with actors that are not that are different in whatever that may be, whether you are Black, Asian, Hispanic, mobily enabled. So it's at the end of the day, my goal is to really have Hollywood try to highlight the diversity that is true in our everyday. I want, LGBTQ roles to hopefully go to LGBTQ actors. If you are, missing, a limb, whatever it may be, there's so many different things on breakdowns. If there's a request for that, I leave that to the actors that I know that are super qualified. Hard of hearing as well. It's another thing. But I really respect Hollywood, especially in the last, I would say, 5 years, for the push for real diversity. Now I don't know where that's going to be going in the future, but as of now, there's been a huge change on toward the positive side of things. Whether they'll keep that up, I'm hopeful, that and I find joy in people seeing themselves on screen. I love having actors come in and say, oh, I love Marissa Bodie, like she's such an inspiration. If you're looking for new clients, like I utilize a wheelchair, I blah 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 blah, whatever it may be. Like I love to connect with people to let them know that at the end of the day, there is room for you in Hollywood. There's room for everyone in Hollywood. And when the right role comes through, it's the right role. And in the meantime, just keep training, keep acting, keep doing all the things that need to be done, because when the right project comes along, it's for sure going to present itself, and you have a wonderful chance to really capitalize on that opportunity. So it's near and dear to my heart. It's me being a Black woman in Hollywood. It's the push for diversity is near and dear. So I love the fact that I'm able to spearhead that and utilize that in a positive way.
You definitely are. And oh my goodness, just so inspirational off the bat. I mean, I knew within the first couple minutes of talking to you and just hearing your story, but I think just having that heart posture of wanting to see the change that you see every day,
Right.
especially in the industry. And I can attest that within the past 5 years, Hollywood has definitely been doing a huge push in terms of diversity. I mean, you mentioning Marissa Bodie, I think that's a powerful representation of just how diversity and inclusion can be involved in storytelling, and how so real it is in everyday's lives that people can see a character like that or an
Yeah.
actor like that and see
Yes.
themselves in those type of roles, those type of characters, and that type of storyline. We're talking about Wicked here,
Yeah.
that's known across
Yeah.
globally, which is insane.
Yeah.
But to have a heart posture like that, all that to say, it's definitely commendable, and it's super inspiring to know that there are individuals in this industry who are actively making the change that people want to see in the industry like yourself. So
Yes.
kudos to you.
Oh,
Kudos to you. Of course, of course. Well, on that inspirational note, I would love to initiate our rapid fire session
okay.
as noted before. But since this is kind of like a whole new thing, I got some new ones for you.
Oh,
I
okay.
want to keep you on your toes. I have some
Okay.
similar ones, but I threw some new ones in as well.
Okay.
But it's like a this or that. You're gonna choose one or the other. It's gonna be fun,
Okay.
not too daunting,
All
but
right.
it's gonna be quick for me, Candace.
I'm ready. Okay. I'm gonna
It's
be
gonna
ready
be
this
quick.
time.
If you need to explain your why for
Okay.
this or that, feel free to do so.
Okay.
If you need to talk yourself through it, because I
Okay.
I have to talk myself through things.
Okay.
So
Sounds
we're gonna
good.
we're gonna start off. We're gonna start off fun. This is easy. All right, you ready for me?
Hmm.
All right, Candace, comedy or drama?
I have to say comedy. And I'm going to say comedy because drama, for the most part, is an easier animal to tackle. It's an easier obstacle to overcome. Comedy is so difficult. It's so hard to be funny. But if you are naturally funny, if you work at it, if you take improv classes and training, it's one of those things that you can hone and you really, really stand out. And a lot of comedy actors can do drama. It's very easy for them to do that transition over. Whereas sometimes if you're a dramatic actor, it's really hard for you to transfer over to the comedy side of things. So I would say comedy because number one, I like to laugh. Number two, it's a hard thing to be good at. But when you're good at it, you want to lead with it and own it. Yeah,
I
comedy.
love that. I love
Yeah,
that. Do you okay, I have to ask because I know you watch TV and film. Is
yeah.
there a current show or movie? And I mean, it's the holidays as well, so let's throw that into the ring as well. But is there
Mhm.
a comedic show or movie that or even holiday movie that your spirit just gravitates towards that you just
Oh,
crack out loud about just off the rim? I'm curious.
oh. I have to say Bridesmaids.
Oh, that's a good
I
one.
I love Bridesmaids. Like whenever I'm like cleaning or doing something, I'm like, I'm just gonna turn on Bridesmaids. And obviously I own it. I actually purchased it. And I think it's absolutely comedic genius. I think it's the characters, everybody, Melissa McCarthy, Kristen
Yes.
Wiig, like it's good. And I never tire of it ever.
I
Ever.
love that. That's a
Yeah.
good comfort movie. I'm not gonna lie. Definitely, I have my movies that I put on not as just for comfort, but just need some white noise in the
Yes.
background. Like I
Yes.
just need something playing while I'm just in my
Yeah.
zone. I had to ask you that because comedy is definitely a challenge, but
Yeah.
I definitely wanted to pick your brain in terms of just
Yeah.
let's see what makes her laugh. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm like, that's
Okay.
my go-to for sure.
I love that. I love that. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. So, training credits or consistent on-set experience?
This is so hard. Okay, so there's a caveat. So I would say training is super important. A lot of times, casting directors want to see who you trained with. If you've had scene study, character development class, Meisner, whatever it may be, training obviously is king in this industry because they want to know like the work that you've put in. On the other side, obviously, casting directors and agents, we want you to have set experience. We want you to have the credits that will also help us get you into the room. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say training.
Okay.
Um, and now, because onset experience, sometimes people will do extra roles, background roles that they'll list as onset experience, which doesn't necessarily equate to you getting an actual opportunity for a co-star because they'll see you as a background or extras actor. But it doesn't hurt. In any way, shape, or form, if you have a couple co-stars, if you have some guest stars or recurring guest stars, then I'm like, okay, it's key. But also that credit could be 5 years old. Life happens, sometimes people take a break, but if you have consistent training, you can put like the years that you've taken the classes, especially if you're on top of your training. I think that really does shine through. So I'm going to say training because again, if you're a actor that's starting off, you won't have the credits, but you want to make sure that you do research on the qualified or the top referred uh, acting coach or teachers in whatever region you're in. So I'm going to go with training. You definitely to have that so you can get the credits.
I love that. You're such a well thought person. A well thought person. You're a thinker.
Yeah, I'm a
Let's
thinker.
just say that.
That's exactly.
You're a thinker. You really broke it down
I'm like, yeah.
to a perfect summary. Oh my goodness. It's so funny watching people think in real time and just getting their answer out. It's so good. Okay, okay. I remember this one, but I'm going to restate it because it may be different.
Mhm.
Theater trained actors or film trained actors?
I'm going to go with film trained actors because I don't necessarily focus on theater. We have some wonderful theater stage agents at DDO that doesn't necessarily something that I have pursued. However, I will say that I have some wonderful actors on my roster that have extensive theater resumes that are phenomenal on camera actors. So, out the gate, I would say on camera, TV, film, because that's what I specialize in. But I love a good theater actor because they will bring what needs to be brought emotionally, and they have such range that is not, you can't compare. So I
Yeah.
like both, but I'll go with TV and film because I just know how to pitch that and sell that to casting.
I love that answer. I love that answer. Okay, okay. We'll do two more. We'll do two
Okay.
more.
Okay.
So we have studio network project
Okay.
or a strong indie film. So you got studio or indie, whether you're pitching your client to, just whatever gravitates to you. What's your thoughts, Candace?
I like studio backed features. I like that because it gets you more exposure. It gets you in front of producers, directors that are going to go on to do like large productions. If it's an independent film, I would hope that we're looking at not just a day player role. I would hope that we're looking at something that's more of like a supporting or a strong supporting role, which can all obviously equate to box office success on the independent side. But I mean, I get more motivated when I see, if Steven Spielberg is attached, that really like puts a fire under me. Or if I see, certain actors are attached to a feature, that definitely brings me, motivation to really get you seen. Independent projects, yes, I do the same thing. But a lot of times with the independent projects, it's an up and comer, which is never terrible to get in front of. So if it's an up and coming director that's doing an independent project, fantastic. So I do submit out on both, but I will say that the ones that bring me the most joy is when a client is like on a TV show like Purpose, or if they're on like, Breaking Bad when that was on at the time. Like, so those are the things that really like bring me like that I really want to push for, because the next step is another co-star or another guest star or a recurring. So you kind of keep going up the ladder when shows, especially are when the public has responded positively to it, then more opportunities start to come.
I agree. I agree. I agree. And a perfect, well thought out summary on your reason. I
Yeah.
gotta love that. I honestly, it honestly makes me giggle because you're just like, she knows what she's talking about. Like, goodness gracious, she knows exactly what she wants. So of
Yeah.
course, it's going to be a really nice will breakdown. All right,
Yeah.
I have a last one for you.
Mhm.
I mean, you answered this kind of earlier in the interview, but feel free to reiterate.
Mhm.
You have your bold creative choice for a self tape or the safe bookable choice. Dare I say, bold creative choice, shall we?
Yeah. Yeah, it's a bold creative choice. And also too, a lot of times it's not said, but casting directors are okay with you doing two takes. So if you do one take that is safe, great. That's just like you're coming up, you're doing your thing and you're leaving. The second take can be, it obviously has to have a different feel and a different approach, because if you're sending in two tapes that are the exact same thing, I won't send them because you're not giving the casting director two options. It's like bringing out two entrees that are both chicken when you could have brought out chicken and beef. Like you could have brought out a completely different options for the person to really choose from. But if it's the same thing, then what are we really choosing from? So I would say do a safe take, then do a bold take, whatever that may be. And again, I'm not an actor, I'm not an acting coach. So a lot of times that's part of the creative process with the actor. And so I tell my clients, like, I can tell you if it was believable or if it was sellable, or if I'm only going to be submitting one take or I'm submitting two takes, but I'll tell you which one was my favorite. But if clients are reaching out and asking about like what should they do, then I can't do that. This is a creative choice. And so the bold choice needs to be something that again is true to character, how you envision it, and you'll never know, that could be the standout take that casting directors really respond to. So again, don't be afraid to do two takes. Anything over two is a little bit excessive, unless the casting director said feel free to do up to three. I've never really seen that, or sometimes four. I've never seen that, but you'll never know. Everyone is different at different times. There's different requirements. So feel free to take two takes. Do one safe, do one bold.
I love that. I love that. And the two takes, I'm so glad you mentioned that. That's something that, you can go the safe route. And I loved how you answered the question. I'm just reiterating at this point because
Yeah,
there's so much truth behind that. To just do a safe take of how the scene is played and then also just how you interpret it, just bringing in that creative
right.
vision as well as the actor to bring what you think
Hmm.
is the character is doing in the scene, how the character is feeling, that creative approach
Yeah.
for the actor. But I think it's always rather be safe than sorry. Send in two takes, unless it clearly states one for sure. But send in two
Hmm.
takes. It doesn't seem like it's harming anyone. And if
Right.
anything, I feel like it's safer? Question mark in a
Yeah, it
sense.
provides them range. Like if you're auditioning for like a store clerk, like you create a backstory where the store clerk is overtly excited for this new job because they were laid off at their last job, so they're so happy and perky to have this job today. Or it could be the jaded store clerk that is very much over the job and is looking for something new but hasn't had the opportunity to. So again, it's like how you want to interpret the character and how you want to bring it to life. Like again, two takes I feel will give you that range and give you, make you stand out and also show casting what it is that you bring to the table with, a one liner or, maybe just a co star with a couple of lines, like whatever it may look like to you. Just bring it to the table and make sure that they are both very different approaches.
Yeah, the very different approach is key for sure. And
Hmm.
oh my goodness, Candace, you've been such a blast talking to. Like, oh my goodness, I'm geeking out to myself that this is such
Thank
a
you
fun
for having
conversation
me.
to have. Yeah,
Yeah.
of course, of course. But I'm going to conclude with this final question.
Hmm.
It's a question that we've asked all of our guests here at Aspire to Inspire. It's just a takeaway of how you desire to use your platform to inspire people. So, here at Aspire to Inspire, we really try to aim to amplify industry professionals' voices and how they desire to leave an imprint on this world for a positive reason.
Hmm.
And Candace, I ask you, how do you desire to use your platform to inspire those around you and those who come in contact with you?
Yeah, I mean, when I meet with an actor that has a lot of potential that I can see, them doing great things, I will, say, let's come on board and let's go ahead and take this journey together. Or I'll say this is not the right time, but these are the tools that you need to work on so that way you can become a more established actor in the industry. I like to use my platform to recruit, to scout, to motivate, and let talent and actors know that at the end of the day, not only am I rooting for you, casting is rooting for you, everyone's rooting for you to win. The right roles will come through. You'll audition a lot, you'll hear a lot of no's, but know that again, your agent, your manager, casting will continue to call you in because they want to see you do good work and continue to do good work. So I would say, I use my platform to motivate and inspire, especially up and coming actors or actors that are older that are just new to the business, where we've seen a lot of success stories over the years. So, yeah, I would say just keep digging down deep, push hard, and don't take no for an answer. Just keep showing them what you can do.
Amen to that, Candace. You've been preaching this whole time. Oh my goodness. I'm just like laid out at this
Too
point. But oh my
funny. Too
goodness.
funny.
You're honestly hilarious, to be honest. But oh my goodness. Candace, you've been such a pleasure to have here on this platform. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to chat with me, to speak life to so many individuals who will be watching this. And I'm
Yeah.
so excited to see what's in store for you in 2026. We're wrapping
Yeah.
up the year off strong,
I'm
but
excited.
oh my goodness, so
Yeah.
excited to see what's to come. But just to conclude for this interview, thank you so much again for tuning in. Of course, more interviews with industry professionals will be coming to us in the 2026 season. We're already lining up our guests, but I am so thrilled to have you, Candace. And thank you so much. A million thank yous.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. Happy holidays, and I'll see everyone in the new year.
All right. Happy holidays.